Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Think these little fellas are annoying? Just wait till you see how pesky the hidden fees charged by the financial world can be.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, best-selling author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Over the years, there's been a ton of popular science fiction TV shows and movies to hit the scene. But one name that rises to the top for yours truly is Star Trek. Set in the 23rd century, the television series Star Trek ran from 1966 through 1969. With very low ratings during the late 60s, it would be canceled only to be later syndicated, becoming a huge hit. And for some reason, of all the episodes I remember watching as a kid, one that I really remember was something called The Trouble with Tribbles. In this comic episode, the Starship Enterprise visits a space station that soon becomes overwhelmed by rapidly reproducing small furry creatures called Tribbles. Now, the problem with these unassuming and cuddly little creatures was not the harm they caused anyone, but rather the way they quickly infested the USS Enterprise. They hid and multiplied so quickly that Spock estimated it would take over 17 years to get rid of them. Well, to say that they became unmanageable would be an understatement. Lucky for Captain Kirk and the crew, they managed to eradicate them and get them off that ship. If only it were that easy to get rid of all those fees the financial world is charging on your money. But climb aboard the USS Worry-Free Retirement, because today we're going to expose the hidden fees on your money and show you how through our process we, in many cases, can save you a bunch of money by tossing those fees overboard. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, Tribble specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before I share with you how to get rid of those financial tribbles in your world, let me introduce two of my favorite crew members, my very own Mr. Spock, the producer of the show, Mr. Aaron Orander, and in the engine room, the Scotty of the show, if you will, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, we've seen how much damage these hidden creatures called Tribbles can be to a spaceship traveling along in the 23rd century. But what about all those hidden fees being charged on your money? What can they do to multiply and get out of control and possibly cost you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime, not just to you, but also the money that could have gone to your kids? Well, climb aboard, because when I return, first I'm going to expose where those fees are hiding out, and then how our process can set the stage to eradicate some of them so that you can keep more of your money in your pocket. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. It is estimated that each day over 10,000 people will turn 65, which means a lot of advisors selling a lot of annuities. Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. The topic of today's show is built around one of the most popular episodes of Star Trek, aired back in 1967, called The Trouble with Tribbles. an episode that featured one cute and cuddly furball who soon multiplied and took over the USS Enterprise. Well, like fees charged by the financial world, the biggest problem with Tribbles is the way they hide out and over time compound and multiply. Here in this scene, Captain Kirk uncovers hundreds of them hiding out in the bowels of the USS Enterprise. Hey, at least Kirk and his crew knew where they were located. So, with many of you trying to figure out how the financial world is charging you money to handle your money, assuming you have a 401k, IRA, annuity, mutual funds, or other investments with a money manager, you may not be as lucky as Captain Kirk and expose where all of these fees are and how to get rid of them. You see, like Tribbles, fees charged by most financial institutions and advisors are hard to spot, and yes, over time will take over your financial ship. Believe me, if you don't get them under control, they will multiply and get out of control. It's pretty simple. There's really only three ways in the financial world that we make money on your money. First, through commissions, which usually is on the sale of products, usually insurance products, but others. Second, on what's called the spread. That's the way the financial institutions can make money. And finally, the third common way that financial institutions and advisors make money is through recurring fees, many of which are never disclosed and hidden away so that you can't see them. But not to worry, because at Tony Walker Financial, we know where to find those unwanted fees and in many cases, how to reduce or eradicate them altogether. And to help us understand the trouble with fees and our role in helping you reduce them, let's go to one of my other crewmates over in Bowling Green, fellow fiduciary, Heather Hughes. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Tony. How are you today?
Doing well, doing well. And you're kind of the fee expert around Tony Walker Financial. Kind of tell folks a little bit about, as a fiduciary, what you do in terms of our fee analysis, and we'll get into a little more detail of what you find in most cases.
Absolutely. So typically, I'm tasked with looking at existing brokerage accounts and trying to dissect what's going on inside of those. So I'll look at individual investments to see what the costs are for mutual funds, ETFs. Those aren't really disclosed to clients except through prospectus, in addition to the advisory fees that their current or past advisors have charged them.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing we've realized over time. Sometimes, even if an advisor might say, well, we charge 1% or 1.5%, that's not always just the fee. So explain sometimes what happens when you have your base fee, that is what the advisor might charge, but explain a little bit about expense ratios and the fees on top of those investments and sometimes what they can run.
Sure. Other investments carry what's called expense ratios or 12B1 fees, and they can range from anywhere just to, like 0.02% all the way up to 2.5%. So when you have a large fee like that on top of an advisory fee, it can get pretty expensive. And then if you get into anything with an A share, that means it's going to pay a commission to your advisor off the top. So, you put 100,000 into an investment that has an A share, your accountant is going to go down immediately once you purchase those shares to cover the commission to pay the advisor.
Yeah, just like I said, those Tribbles keep growing and they keep hiding out. And finally, and I'm going to cover this in some detail here shortly, but talk to people about our level fee versus some advisors, which is called a tier fee system, and how that works.
Absolutely. So our level fee is we charge 0.8% per year or 0.2% per quarter. That's how it's actually taken out. With other advisors, they can be tiered. So say the first $200,000 of your account is charged 1.5%, the next 200 could be at 1.25, and then the next 200 could be at 1. So it sounds like, when you hit that $600,000 level, oh, I'm only paying 1%. Simply not true. You're paying more than that. So you've got to be really careful about who your advisors are, how they accurately disclose their fees that they're charging, and, kind of buyer beware.
That's a good place to end. Heather, we appreciate so much all the work you do for our clients and prospective clients in making sure we fully understand what the fees are. So thank you for your time, and you make it a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, so what Heather mentioned is something called the tiered system. Let me show you an example of how a tier fee system works. So you can see the first tier comes in and that's 1.25% the fees that charged by the money manager up to $1 million. But then it changes. As you get more money in this example, they might charge a little less fee on that situation. And then finally, in the third tier, if you have bukus of money, over $1 million up to $5 million, this particular money manager charges 1%. But there's a problem with all of this, and this is that most people don't understand how these fees work. So let's look at an actual example, one that we ran into recently. This particular client had over $1 million. Now, folks, you don't have to have $1 million to work with Tony Walker Financial. We open accounts at 40, 50, 100,000. We do over $1 million, but we have one flat fee of 0.8%. But in this example, this person had quite a bit of money, over $1.1 million, and the particular money manager they were thinking of placing their money with used a tier system. In other words, the first $750,000 was at 1.5%, which meant the money manager was going to charge over $11,000 a year on that pot of money. The next tier was 1.25, meaning the money manager was going to charge over $3,000 per year to handle it. And the final tier of 127, and they were going to charge $1,275 or 1%. Well, that adds up, folks, to over $15,000 every year in fees. So now let's take a look at Tony Walker Financial and how we compare in this example. Now, what we did, we put some through our split IRA concept with Charles Schwab, which with our fee of 0.8% and the funds we used through Schwab on this portfolio was $4,500 a year. Most of that money does go to Tony Walker Financial. Then we chose an accumulation annuity with that amount of money that had no fee, so there was no fees charged on the accumulation annuity. Then we used an income annuity with a rider fee of 1.05. That goes to the insurance company, not us, which they charge $3,000. So basically, on that full $1.1 million, in this case, the total fees every year were $7,500. So what would be the annual fee savings? Let's take a look at that. We got Derek over at the helm, and we're going to look at a huge number, over $8,000 per year. Let me repeat that. By going with Tony Walker Financial, in this particular example, we were going to save this person $8,000 a year just in fees. So you might say, well, Tony, how do I really count the cost there? What does that really mean to me and my family over time? When I return, I'm going to get the whiteboard out. We're going to show you what this fee savings really means for you and your family. Good stuff coming up on the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Looking to roll over your 401k? Then log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and learn just how easy it is to roll over and safeguard your 401k. Do it today. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I'm pleased to announce that our Live Well, Die Broke winner for this month is Phyllis here in Louisville. So Phyllis, for sending in that picture along with that Tony Walker bobblehead, that helped a lot. Is going to be the winner of a $100 gift card. So Phyllis, we appreciate you so much sending in that photo of yourself. All right, speaking of photos and articles and fees, and we got a great one to share with you. This is a Forbes article that came out. Again, folks, this is a retirement planning show, and I love the headline, How Long Will Your Retirement Really Last? Well, that's the problem. A lot of people, Forbes sometimes included, forget about annuities. So they're worried about people running out of money. Remember, folks, with our split IRA concept at Tony Walker Financial, you're not going to run out of money, especially if we put annuities on the back end. That's because the mailbox money takes the risk of running out of money off the table. It's a wonderful thing that you can look at. But anyway, what it's talking about here is this option of thinking through how long you might live instead of just assuming you live 30 or 40 years. And it does a good job of reminding us that we're not going to live forever. Now, in my book, Live Well, Die Broke, you may have read the part where I kind of predicted that I might die at 79. The reason I did that is because I want to have a benchmark in place to remind me to enjoy my money while I still can. Well, with our subject being the trouble with financial tribbles and fees, what I wanted to do is take from our last segment the amount of fees that we are going to save this one client, and let's go over to the whiteboard, and I'm going to kind of show you how that adds up, and as we say, what is the real cost of these fees. Get my cheat notes out here. So in this example, we're imagining that a person is 65 and retired, and again, we're going to imagine that we had a crystal ball and they were going to die at 79. So it's a 14-year window we're working on. So let's just round off so I can do the math. So let's say we're going to save somebody $7,500 a year in fees. That's per year in this example. Well, over 14 years, that would be $105,000 in savings, okay? That's money in your pocket. But you got to remember, if you do lose these fees, if you don't get them back, in other words, let's say you go with a more expensive money manager, over the next 14 years, if you could have made 5% on that money, really what's happening, let me get my red pen for effect, if you had have gone with the other money manager instead of us, in other words, not saved $7,500, but paid an extra $7,500 for their services, over that 14-year period, the cost, money you would have lost out of your pocket at interest, is $161,000. But it continues on. Let's say this same person had as a goal that, I'd like to leave more money to my kids when I pass away. Well, you can buy life insurance, things like that, but let's just focus on the fee savings. What if we just took the fee savings, in this case, at 79, we imagine you pass away, so there's $161,000 of cost. We're imagining you went with another money manager, you could have saved $7,500, but since you didn't, that's a cost. So now you're dead, all right? $161,000 is gone, but since it's gone, what if we could have left it to the kids? The same thing. Let's imagine they live for another 30 years. Let's say they could have earned 5% on that money. This is a big number. Total cost to your family over all this period of time, $700,000. So let's go over this again. By not saving money on fees, by continuing to have these financial tribbles everywhere, it costs you $7,500 a year by not going with Tony Walker Financial in this one example, which over 14 years times $7,500 is $105,000. But since you lost that money, and let's say we could have made an average of 5%, now it's $161,000. You pass away at 79. The $161,000 is gone forever because the financial world got it. If it had have been able to be passed to the kids, right, because we saved the money with our process, they would receive $161,000. Now we're imagining they live it and enjoy that money for 30 years and make 5%. Essentially, that would have allowed you to save and pass on $700,000 to you and your family. So if you don't think these fees are a big deal, folks, they are. Well, let me make this offer to you. If you're sitting there right now and you got a 401k, IRA, you've got a bunch of investment statements, you're getting ready to maybe move money over to a money manager and you're not really sure what they're going to charge, before you do anything, before you buy an annuity, before you invest in mutual funds or give money to somebody, let us at least take a look at it and give you a second opinion. It's easy to do. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started button, or feel free to give us a call at the toll-free number on your screen. Well, what does the Bible have to say about tribbles? Actually, nothing at all, but it does have to say something about winning the victory and how difficult it is when you try to win without God. Let me get a cup of coffee. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. For the past 36 years, I've made it my life's mission to help savers better manage their 401k plans with our split IRA concept. This concept, which utilizes investments through Charles Schwab on the front end and mailbox money on the back end, allows our savers to confidently use and enjoy their money without the fear of running out. To see if you're eligible to turn your 401k into the split IRA concept, visit us at TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. One of the things we're known for here at Tony Walker Financial is our proprietary 401k rollover concept called the WorryFree Split IRA. And here's how it works. Unlike most money managers and wealth managers who tend to work with investors and speculators, their job is to try as best they can to grow your money with little concern for costs, fees, and risk. On the other hand, our split IRA concept recognizes the fact that savers do not wish to put all of their money at risk, but maintain a balance between enjoying the possibility of some stock market gains, but also without the fear of running out of money in the future. In order to accomplish this, our split IRA works as follows. Let's start with the first bucket. We refer to this as the immediate income and liquidity bucket through our current custodian, Charles Schwab. In this bucket may be all or some of your 401k plan depending on your level of risk. After we determine how much of your 401k or IRA we wish to keep liquid, we then will analyze your level of risk and select one of our 5 personally managed investment portfolios for you. Of course, should you decide to change investments to another portfolio over time, we will be happy to do so, and usually at no additional cost to you. Then we turn to the protection bucket. This is the bucket, or sometimes buckets, where the annuity will go. Why do we put the annuity or annuities in the second bucket? Because we're assuming any growth we might have would be in the Charles Schwab bucket. The annuity, fixed annuities, fixed indexed annuities, fixed interest annuities are meant for protection, and most importantly, their goal is to help you not run out of money. You see, an annuity is the only contractually guaranteed investment that can do this. Wall Street products can't do that, and neither can the products that we place with Charles Schwab. Only annuities issued by insurance companies can provide guaranteed income you can never outlive, something I call mailbox money. So if you are a saver, someone who is more concerned with the return of your money than on it, maybe you have a 401k at a previous employer. You might be over the age of 59 and a half and didn't realize you could even roll your 401k over to someone like us. Maybe you're just ready to use and enjoy this money that you've worked all your life to accumulate. If that's you, let's talk. All you got to do is log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button. We can either meet in person or we can take advantage of something that's absolutely free. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, whereby you can talk to myself or one of our other well-trained fiduciaries to first find out what it is you have going on and how we might be able to help you. So take advantage of that now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or if you like, simply call the toll-free number on your screen and let's get started. It is estimated that each day over 10,000 people will turn 65, which means a lot of advisors selling a lot of annuities. Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Like most science fiction plots, they tend to reflect the world around us. Two forces at work against one another. You have good versus evil. In the case of Star Trek, the crew of the USS Enterprise played the role of the good guys. The Klingons, they played the bad guys. Most of the shows, including the episode we discussed today, The Trouble with Tribbles, revealed that constant battle between these two forces, this ongoing struggle of good trying to claim victory over evil. The reason the Tribbles were such a nuisance is the way they multiplied so quickly that they literally took over the Enterprise and thus threatened the ability of Captain Kirk to effectively do battle with those Klingons. You see, if Kirk and his crew do not have the USS Enterprise in top working condition, they'll lose. Without that ship, victory would escape them and the Klingons would win. And while doing battle with a financial world who is quite happy to charge hefty fees to handle our money is a tough task, it's nothing compared to the daily spiritual battle you and I face in dealing with the world's biggest adversary, the devil. Interesting, you don't really hear much about the devil anymore. Maybe that's because, like Tribbles, he has become really good at making us think he's just this little cute and cuddly fellow while all along he's multiplying and causing a lot of pain. And worse yet, at some point, we discover that he is too big to conquer on our own. In other words, the horse we're riding is not enough to get us across the finish line. In Romans 7, verse 24, the Apostle Paul realized he was in a losing battle himself. In fact, he says the following of his own abilities to overcome the devil: "Wretched man that I am, who will set me free from the body of this death?" In other words, I think what Paul is saying is, save me, deliver me from this evil that I'm finding to be too much to overcome on my own. Maybe that's you right now. For whatever reason, you may feel defeated over something that is totally out of your control. Could be the loss of a loved one, an addiction, the fear of running out of money, even the wears and tears of a government lockdown that's been going on for the past 9 months. Whatever that losing battle might be, may I make a suggestion and turn to Proverbs 21:31, where it says, "The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord." So Tony, you ask, what is this victory and what must I do to obtain it? Well, you do what Paul did in the very next verse in Romans 7:25, where you turn to the only one who can save you, the only person who has already defeated the adversary, and that is Jesus Christ. Of this wonderful message of victory, the late great Watchman Nee says in his book, The Life That Wins, this: "The life that wins is not attained, but obtained. It is not a life changed, but rather a life exchanged. It is frankly not in you yourself, because it is in Christ who lives in you." You see, folks, those tribbles in your life that seem to be out of control can easily be eradicated, but you have to believe that through Christ you are already victorious over the adversary. You start believing and you start living this way, and I assure you, you'll stop falling victim to the cute and cuddly schemes of the devil. Well, Tony might be saying, that's some really good news, but I need to eradicate some of these darn fees. I need to earn a better interest rate on my money. I need a written game plan, something that I can look at in writing and follow along into retirement. I need help, partner, and that's what I want to know. Can you help me with my retirement planning? Well, to which I would say, absolutely. In fact, 24/7, that's all I do is help savers worry less about money, and we want to help you too. So to get started, to find out more about Tony Walker Financial and how we can help you worry less about money, why don't you log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started button. Now, that information is confidentially sent to our Bowling Green offices. We share that with no one outside Tony Walker Financial, and you will be contacted for either a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call to see what we might be able to help you with, or if it warrants, I'll be happy to meet with you in person. That's right. The owner of the company, Tony Walker, I'll be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So take advantage of that free opportunity to meet, or give us a call at the toll-free number on your screen. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, we got a great show in store for you, but between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.